I, 20M, found out my girlfriend, 23F, of 9 months is cheating and pregnant. I, 20M, had been dating my girlfriend, 23F, Sarah, for 9 months when I started to have my suspicions. She was spending more and more time at her friend's place. She sometimes wouldn't text me for hours. It kept getting more and more over weeks. It just kept getting weird. I talked to one of my friends and he thought she was cheating and I told him that wasn't sure. Eventually I pushed it away and didn't think about it. A few weeks ago I got a call from my friend saying that one of his mutuals posted a photo of my girlfriend and some guy at a party. I got him to show me the photo. It was a photo of a group but in the corner was my girlfriend on the lap of some dude. I talked it through with my friend and chose to confront her. But I told him I would take a bit to think about what I was going to say. A week later, I got a text from my friend asked to call after work. I called him to find him speeding off about how he found the boy's profile and he had apparently been dating my girlfriend 5 months. I ended up staying on call with him for 4 hours. Just venting. A few days later I get a call from my halfway through my work shift I got a call from Sarah. I was not in the mood to answer so I didn't answer. I got off the call I had 2 missed calls from my girlfriend. I went to bed and decided I would call her in the morning. I woke up to a knock on my door at 11 p.m. I went to the door to see it was Sarah. I opened the door she was crying. I asked her what was wrong and she just blurted out she was pregnant. I was in shock but I couldn't let her know I knew she was cheating. I took her over to my bed and she just cried. I comforted her, patted her back while she cried. She babbled about how her parents were going to kill her. And how she wasn't going to be able to do the things she wanted. I tried to comfort her the best I could. When she stopped crying, I laid down and told her to sleep and I would talk to her about this in the morning. She fell asleep about 3 hours ago and I can't sleep. I don't know what to do. I know it's not mine, we have slept together like that twice. We also both used protection. I mean, maybe she lied. She said she was on the pill, but I don't know. I used a condom both times. Maybe it is mine. But I really think it's the other guy's. Her parents are super religious. If she chooses to keep it then they're not going to support her. I've been thinking about it. If it is mine then I have enough money to let her move in maybe. I'm very good with saving. I currently in my own apartment in the city to go to school. I saved up a lot to do this when staying with my parents. I don't have enough to support my current way of living but if I cut down on expensive and things for my girlfriend and stuff I could get a good job. But even if it's not mine what is she going to do? According to my friend the guy he's cheating with lives halfway across the city about half an hour away. I stalked his profile for like 20 minutes. I'm not sure but I think he already had kids. What if he doesn't want the kid? Why did she come to me, not him? What if she tried? What if she doesn't tell me I might not be the dad? What if she doesn't care, thinks I don't know and thought she would just go with it? But on the other hand I love her. I could be the dad even if it's not mine. I've always wanted a kid. Maybe not this young but that's okay. Right? I, 28M, caught my fiancé, 27F, cheating on me. We have 2 young kids. The holidays were great, at least for me. We had a good start to 2024. I went out with friends after a hockey tournament first weekend of Jan. 6th, and she went out last Friday, 12th, with colleagues, who she is starting to see as friends. She came home Saturday early morning and it started off to be a good weekend with us and the kids, 2 and 5. I work mostly nights to accommodate childcares for the youngest and to take my oldest to school. Once she is home, I go to work on my scheduled days. I do a lot around the house for her and the kids. The oldest I have raised since he's 17 months, she has sole custody of him, and the other is biologically mine. Monday night, my life changed for the worst, so it seems. She had some sort of a snap and said she wasn't feeling happy anymore and needed time to figure out herself. Looking into a therapist and figuring out her thoughts. I was ready to give her the time and space she needed. Reached out to couples therapy, as it was something she brought up during a more calm chat Monday night. Tuesday, she started new anxiety and depression medication, stating she has been having anxiety attacks at work, thinking about our relationship and how she feels while at work. This is all related to me. Once I asked her why she had left her engagement ring, she never took it off when she went to work. We have another conversation that night after how she feels and what the next steps are. At least I tried. It was like talking to a wall. We weren't getting anywhere. We have had communication problems in the past. Nothing ever this bad, that warrants what is to come. We always seem to work though it and love again. Wednesday, she leaves the ring again. She states that wearing it is added pressure for her as she does not know what she wants. She does not want to wear it until she's figured herself out. We have another conversation that night. Seemed to go a little better, but again, she wasn't invested in the conversation. These are the conversations she's always wanted with me, opening up and addressing my feelings, yet it didn't seem like she was invested. Thursday rolls around and again, her ring is left at home. We don't talk for much of the day, however, I still have hope we can get through this. I've reached out to a couple therapists, looked at the benefits coverage, I am ready when she is to take this serious and break through this slump. That night she doesn't give me much. She goes to bed early, shortly after the kids. Friday morning, I don't hear from her in the morning yet again, and her ring is back in the original box. I don't know what to think. I start off my morning with getting the kids ready, like any other morning. Once my oldest is at school, I come and open my computer to search the web and look deeply into if what is going on is normal. Suddenly I see her messages come up one by one on my computer. She has been, heavily, sexting a coworker who I've questioned just recently. I have been cheated on in the past and have a hard time trusted, which I trusted her to this point. These texts were nothing like I've read before. I could not imagine this was her texting these things while I'm at home with the kids, and she was going through this hard time finding herself. I went deeper into reading every message. She said nothing they have been doing will affect her at life more than it is affected now. Turns out she had been blowing him on lunch break, going out for lunch together, and Thursday they finally slept together. Now scheduling a night out for next weekend where I am off and will be home with the kids. My stomach was aching and I didn't know what to THJNK. He is younger than her, does not look like a guy ready to care for her, as well as 2 children under the age of 6 with 2 different dads. I'm not sure what led her to this. When I approached the situation, she said he expressed his feelings for her at a lunch, and things escalated from there. When I tried to talk about it further, she had a hard time admitting what she'd done, and still has yet to apologize. She is saying this isn't the problem and it is the next steps with the kids while she deals with what she is going through. As well as we need to talk more about it. Even though I have been trying my best the past 3 days. She is claiming she did not think this through and went to bed early while I was at work, still trying to talk about everything. I've asked if she is ready to break this thing off with the guy, and she hasn't answered that. She wants to keep living together, sharing same bedroom. I just don't think I can get over this. We had everything we ever wanted and were set to get married in 8 months. Everything in me says to try and make it work with counseling. My closest friends and parents tell me to leave her and split assets and figure out custody. I can't imagine anything less than full-time and raising these kids like I have been. Am I crazy to think I can somehow make this work while she still works with the guy? Financially I have a place to go, she does not. She stated before I claimed she was cheating that she didn't see anything serious with this guy, nor is he ready to deal with kids. She says we will talk about it today when I am home. I am torn what is best for me and the kids. I couldn't imagine being away from them. Has anyone dealt with similar situation? Am I crazy to stay for the kids and try to make her desire me again when she said she doesn't feel that passion with me? Clearly she did for this guy. How could I trust her with going out again when I'm not there? Or going to work in the same building as this guy? Does this type of ever work out? She always told me she would leave before she cheated and I crazy thinking she wouldn't, but it happened. She is the love of my life. I am so torn and heartbroken. She is trying to spin it on me, as I pushed her to feel this way. I never thought she would end up cheating on me, reaching out to my fellow Redditors for some sort of advice. My 34M wife, 33F, cheated and is now pregnant. Long story short, my 34M wife Anna, 33F, cheated on me. I don't know why. She says she doesn't know why either. Anytime I ask anything, it's just a river of tears. She says sorry and begs me to forgive her and forget it, but I can't. But leaving hasn't been easy either. We have 2 boys together. She's my high school sweetheart. Our families are longtime friends and are still tight with each other. They've all urged me to stay for the kids. To forgive her since it was one time. To not give up all the good because of one bad. But the worst part is she's pregnant. I found out about the pregnancy from my mother as I had her blocked and wasn't living in the same house anymore. I demanded a paternity test. She readily agreed and swore she'd get rid of the child if it's not mine. She's had nothing but curse words for her affair partner. But then, all she's done since getting caught, didn't confess, is curse the guy and herself and cry. She's threatened to end herself. All she does is hug the boys and cry. I'm waiting on the results. I'll divorce her anyway, but she says the baby is for sure mine. That she slept with him once, whereas we'd been intimate pretty much every night the duration of her affair. It lasted 2 months, I think. They met, talked, and slept only once if I'm to believe her. I don't know why, but the idea of the child being mine disgusts me. It feels like she couldn't commit to anything. Not to me nor the other guy. Why was she cheating if I was satisfying her? How is it that she wanted to talk about her feelings with some random man but not me? How was she sharing her deepest thoughts and feelings with this guy and being with me at once? How does that even work? I've always thought cheating was because you weren't being fulfilled by your partner at home. I've read all these stories of wives leaving their kids, denying affections to their husbands, making jokes at the husband's expense, ruining the men financially, etc. She's done nothing of that sort. She's still the best mother I could have hoped for my sons. They love her more than they love me, I know. She was still the same loving and giving woman I fell for while she was being with the other guy. I saw her texts, the ones she hadn't deleted, and every other text is, "I love my husband." I don't understand. I can't make heads or tails of the situation. If I did give her a baby, am I expected to forget and move back in? What if I can't do that? It's easy hating the child now because that might be her APs. But what if it's mine and I still hate it? I genuinely don't know how to be without her. Our entire lives are interwoven. Some days I want to go back to the blissful ignorance I was living in. The DNA report takes a week, I believe. It's been 3 days. My sister, she visits Anna regularly. I'm angry about that too because she's only visited me twice, says my wife just looks at our wedding photos and cries. We have a whole junkyard collection worth of pictures and memories. She begged me to go see her once. I am clueless of how to proceed. It would have been so much easier if she had been a horrible woman for those 2 months that I could begin to look back and hate. But I can't. Life had been as normal and sweet as ever. I don't even have a bad memory of her I can use to hate her. Our last big fight before this, I can't even remember. I'm going to see her and my boys tomorrow. I think I'll ask for DNA tests on them too. I know they're mine. But you never know. Maybe I'll do it just to hurt her. Maybe I'll find something and I'll just hurt myself more. But that feels so unfair to the boys. Just how do I make sense of this? Edit, I called her. She was crying again but agreed to meet with me. I told her I was going with divorce one way or another. But whether we can ever reconcile a few years later or not fully depends on her honesty. She was crying and her voice sounded rough. But after a while she said she will tell me everything. So she does know why she did it? But for some reason, she asked me to bring my sister along. My sister hasn't said anything either. I'm only praying my sister doesn't turn out to be an accomplice or something. She didn't beg for forgiveness or say, "Think about our kids," after I told her how manipulative she's sounding. She seemed genuinely shocked to realize how she was holding me hostage with her threats. Does that mean something deeper? Are they actions of someone who has remorse? Edit, I talked to her. She showed me all the evidence and I found out which the man was. I am certain now that she was in fact assaulted. However, Anna doesn't seem to think so. She says she didn't fight back and had goaded him, which made him attack her. I have decided to just take her to counseling. Nothing else until I get the paternity results on the baby. Update, my 34M wife, 33F, cheated and is now pregnant. So the DNA reports came back. And the baby is mine. I wasn't even surprised at this point. The day we sat down and talked, she told me she had returned home to immediately take her birth control pill. So she was certain the baby would be mine, and she once again said if by any chance it was the other guys she would abort the baby. That she had no plans or desire to have kids with anyone except me. I won't lie, her words were a good comfort to me. I could tell she was telling the truth. I've been reading too many Reddit stories of men finding out their wives were all too willing to have some random man's child. I cannot lie, even the idea of that made me sick. I asked her if she'd keep this baby even if I filed for divorce. She said yes. So, that's where we're at in terms of the baby. As for the other guy, not disclosing too many details, it was a relative of hers. An older cousin who had been harassing her for a long time, literally since before we even met. She just never said anything to me or complained because her family, and frankly mine too, are obsessed with the entire family comes before all mindset. I'm seeing this pressure to keep everything together happen to me in real time after all. Anyway, long story short, he had returned to our hometown around 3 months ago and started texting, followed and harassing her. Hence why all the block numbers and repeated texts of being happy with me and loving only me. She admitted to sending him a videotape of us being intimate as a way to make him ashamed of her and leave her alone. That she had repeatedly spoken about me and mocked him when he insisted he could do better. She thinks all this goading and insulting had triggered him to attack her, and she never said anything to me because she is certain it was her fault for engaging with him. That if she had ignored him like before, he'd have just left her alone. I've seen enough texts, confronted enough people and heard enough to confirm she isn't lying. Now I'm just focused on getting this woman the therapy it turns out she has needed for a long time. I have decided on legal separation for now but haven't met with the lawyer yet. Our kids will have both of us of course, and I'm happy to know at least my irrational hate for the baby is gone. It's the only positive thing I'm feeling right now. I'm beginning to think clearer now. Reddit has helped me feel confident in protecting myself. I don't feel quite so selfish now. I will support Anna because she desperately needs it. Our relationship needs work, but that comes second to her health, our baby and our sons. I'm going to work on us, but I'm also taking steps to protect myself and the boys. I have Reddit to thank for giving me the confidence to do this and not feel guilty. Much thanks for that. Edit, I am not divorcing her. It's a temporary separation because she needs to heal first before we can be a couple again. Her response to being harassed by that man was putting herself on me. She admitted our first time, over 10 years ago, was in part influenced by his obsession with her virginity. Meaning our first time happened before she was actually ready for something like that. Her response to his texts was sending intimate videos of us. Her response to me trying to get some space was trying to seduce me back into bed with her. I'm not a therapist. But that attitude is not healthy. That much even I can tell. Right now her idea of therapy is to pretend like nothing happened and try to get intimate with me at any opportunity. And she takes me saying no as rejecting her for being used. I'm not helping her with this separation, I know, but I can tell I'm not helping her cope by being too close either. A little separation is best as suggested by the therapist and lawyer. Yes, I know she didn't cheat. It's that the title has to be same for an update. I'm not calling her assault cheating. I, 42M, cheated on my wife, 43F. Should I tell her what happened? I had an emotional affair with a work colleague a little over 4 years ago. Whilst this doesn't diminish the fact it was still an affair and therefore betrayal, it only became physical once after too much alcohol, although there was no sex involved and just kissing. COVID then happened and it fizzled out and she left the company. Looking back, I'm glad that it did, as it was a major mistake on my part that I massively regret. I can only put what I did down to a midlife crisis type event and weakness on my part. My wife and I have always had a really good relationship, spend most of our time together and have lots of plans for the future. We have 2 teen kids. We make a great team. The only negative aspect to our relationship is that my wife never initiates sex, which despite having had numerous arguments and conversations about, she is unable/unwilling to change. I think this led me to have low self-esteem about myself, and so when I received some overt female attention for the first time in years, I lost myself a bit and fell for the potential excitement of a new relationship. So, do I come clean and tell my wife, or do I continue to live with the guilt for my wife and children's benefit? Update: I've read hundreds and hundreds of everyone's posts. Clearly there's more nuance than a simple Reddit post can portray, and it's disappointing that people assume things about me without any evidence. I do my fair share of the chores and always have. I was a stay-at-home dad for a few years, and I can hand on heart say I spend more time with my wife and kids than most men. That said, I'm certainly not trying to diminish whose fault this is. It's 100% mine. I fucked up. I made a poor choice. I regret it immensely and wish I could turn back time. But I can't, and I'll have to live with the choices I made whatever happens. I'm not going to lie, the excuses I gave regards alcohol, lack of initiation, low self-esteem etc. were probably me trying to pass the buck on some level. Whilst I do believe they were factors in what led me to do what I did, like many of you said, it was still ultimately my choice, and it was just me being weak to try and use them as excuses for what I did. Whilst the initiation thing is still a real issue for me despite what some of you have suggested, I understand that it's a completely separate issue and one that I need to park until I've sorted out being the best husband and father first. What I really can't reconcile in my head with all of this is why I was so weak at this point when I've never come close to cheating before or after. Doesn't really matter, I suppose, as I still did it. I haven't 100% decided what to do yet, although I'm leaning towards not saying anything on the basis that I will never do anything like this again and am going to commit to work at being the best husband and father I can be from here on in. I know a lot of you may not agree with that, but life isn't as black and white as the storybooks would have you believe. I screwed up. I need to learn from that. But I'm unwilling to throw away a 20-year marriage and damage my kids irreparably for my fuck up.